Hi everyone, and welcome. It's Vienna, and this is an episode of American Leaders Through Gastronomy and Pop Culture. There were many great presidents in American history, but a better question to ask is what made them so successful? And that is a story I'm here to tell you today. Going through conventional history, but in a way you've probably never heard before. Using the inspiration behind the book, American History Through a Whiskey Glass, it's my intention and hope that you can experience and unlock the magic of American history through gastronomy using recipes expertly chosen by Harris Cooper in this amazing read, selecting a nice glass of your findings with your favorite American dishes. And with that said, let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a very famous and successful president. His name, George Washington. He was the first American president and a founding father who we think we know. But how did he become so successful? The place to start is definitely with the first American president. But according to some people, it's been said that George Washington was actually, in fact, a failed politician. Or at least he was in 1755 when he first ran for the Virginia House of Burgesses. In fact, he lost by a vote count of 271 to 40, but he came back to win in 1758. A change in his proposed policies? Not exactly. According to Harris Cooper, to secure his victory, Washington gave away about half a gallon of alcohol per voter, 47 gallons of beer, 35 of wine, plus cider brandy and rum, to be exact. It was a common practice at the time, and it even had a name, swilling the planters with bumbo. In fact, voters expected free booze. Intoxicating beverages were regularly handed out on the grounds of polling place, which might have been the local tavern. Quoted by historian Harris Cooper, Washington would continue to effectively use dispensation of spirits during the Revolutionary War. In fact, he ordered that a gill of alcohol be used and issued to each soldier every day. There was even an extra nip for someone who had performed an act of bravery. Washington had seen the effects of alcohol during his stint as a lieutenant colonel in the French and Indian War. There, he noticed its positive effects on soldiers, but also its negative ones, and if a soldier was drunk on duty, he was punished severely. So thoroughly convinced was the father of our country of the salutary effects of spirits that because imports were restricted, he suggested the government construct its own public distilleries. After successfully leading the American Revolution, acting as the first American president of a new tradition, Washington retired in his most cherished place in the world, his estate at Mount Vernon, Virginia. Under great financial pressure, Washington hired Scotsman James Anderson to manage his estate. Anderson first realized what was done in his home country, making barley whiskey, could be done in the States as well, by building a grist mill and distillery, and by utilizing a water source near the estate, he suggested to make whiskey out of corn and rye to create cash flow for Washington. Both Martha and her husband were fond of their table at Mount Vernon. Martha was a renowned hostess, and the couple welcomed thousands of guests into their home. In fact, the residence was almost always filled with guests. They were well known for their boundless hospitality and their frequent and memorable parties. Welcoming a vast and diverse group of people, many were individuals of great importance who came, and many others showed up out of curiosity. One of George's favorite foods that Martha made was green pea soup. And today, we've even found and preserved one of Martha's cookbooks, and in it was her recipe for green pea soup. You can also find a bottle of George's whiskey at the Hodling Company called Old Potrero 18th Century Style Whiskey. This is the name of the whiskey that is used for the alternative to George Washington's. Harris Cooper says in his book, with 4.5 years of aging, Old Potrero has a long rest for colonial times, when most whiskey would have been consumed with no aging. The distillers say the mash bill use of pot stills and aging process are an attempt to recreate the original whiskey of America. But America's deep history with alcohol consumption as an interactive phenomena, or even used as a political strategy, began much, much earlier than that. In fact, it goes all the way back, at the very beginnings of the foundings of our country. And now we begin a new story, a new America through gastronomy. This is American Leaders Through Gastronomy. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and please check out the next episode of American Leaders Through Gastronomy coming up.